We are really glad that you joined us for today's session for the 3-6 ELA Distance Learning Walkthrough webinar. Couple things before we get started is in this image that you're seeing, in letter A in the top left-hand corner, you see the purple 1 and 2. That's showing that on your meeting toolbar that you have there in the lower middle section, on that toolbar, you have a webcam and a microphone. That's what's labeled 1 and 2 there. It is a good idea to have those turned off. So do not click on them to turn them on. Make sure they have that slash mark as you see in this image. You do want to turn those off during the webinar. I will have opportunities for you to do question and answer. And when I introduce those opportunities, then that's okay to unmute your microphone to ask your question, but I'll introduce those. Also in that letter A, in that picture, you're going to see an orange number 3. On the toolbar, there is a comic book like comment bubble icon. If you click on that, that opens up a meeting chat on your right-hand side. In that meeting chat, that's okay to ask questions. And when we have the instructional coaches with us as well to help moderate the chat, to help answer your questions or curate them for our question and answer period. There are some participants that you might not have that number 3, that meeting chat. A workaround is you would have to close out of Teams, restart Teams, or rejoin the meeting, and then it will appear again. But talking about that meeting chat, that number 3, if you click on it, then it's going to open up the meeting chat on the right-hand side. And what we have waiting for you right there is an attendance link. So go ahead and click on that attendance link in the meeting chat. And that's how you're getting attendance for completing this webinar. Know that our CIPD, Curriculum Instruction PD department secretaries, they're using the attendance that you're submitting, and they're going to be updating the PD catalog in your transcripts. It's going to take about a week, so give it a couple days here. But they're going to update that to reflect in your transcript that you did complete this webinar. So you're going to want to make sure that you do complete the attendance with the attendance link there. When you're doing that, in that online attendance form that you're filling out, just remember, press the submit button at the bottom. So give you a moment to complete that. All right, we'll get started. In this webinar, your hosts are your amazing 3-6 ELA instructional coaches, Elsa and Quinn, and they're going to be coming in a little bit later in the webinar to share all the amazing things they have for you. And starting out the webinar is your neighborhood-friendly technology coach, Matthew Ketchum, here starting out. We're going to share out the PowerPoints. We're going to share out all the videos. We'll do a follow-up email to this webinar with all the resources. So you're going to get everything that you're seeing today. Also, the expectations are that we're together in this webinar, looking at the slideshow together, talking about it, asking questions about what you're going to be doing. My expectations are we're not going to be in the live Wonders platform at this moment. So we're going to stay here within this meeting and webinar to go over what you're going to be doing and ask questions about it. Just to know, in this PowerPoint we're going to share with you, you can click our names on this slide deck right here. You can click on our names and it will email us. So we're also here for any support, guidance. We know this is new distance learning is new to teachers, parents, students, and even us as instructional coaches. So we're just better together, helping to support, help guiding, help answering questions. So we're all here helping you. All right, so the agenda for today, I have this agenda laid out with the steps A through G for your outline. Why I did that is because in letter A, you're gonna have like step 1, 2, and 3. Letter B, you'll have some steps. So I didn't want to get too confusing with numbers everywhere. So your outline, letter A, we're gonna first look at how to log into Wonders Connect Ed. So that's where 3-6 teachers and students are gonna be for ELA. Teachers, you'll log into Wonders, you're gonna be assigning things in Wonders. Students log into Wonders, they're gonna be completing activities in Wonders. So for the 3-6 ELA pathway, you're in Wonders. Letter B, I'm gonna show you how to clean up your class roster. It's gonna be a good idea to make sure you have your students that are currently in your class on that roster for when you start assigning things to them. Letter C, we're going to look at how to assign and manage student assignments and where do you find them as a teacher when students submit them so you can give feedback. Letter D, we're going to look at how to log into Schoology. And the reason why we're going to Schoology is just for you as a teachers, is because when you log into Schoology, letter E, I'm going to help you join and find a distance learning Schoology group. So this Schoology group is just for you as teachers. And inside it is letter F. There is these weekly activity plans of what you will do that week in Wonders, what you're going to assign out. These are created for you by your amazing instructional coaches. So you have a very detailed list of what you're going to do each week, what you're going to assign in Wonders. So we'll show you that. And our instructional coaches are going to walk through that Schoology group, everything they have put in there, everything they've curated and designed to go over that with you towards the end of this webinar. So that's our outline for today, and we'll get started. So when you see this slide for Q&A, that's the slide that we're ready to take questions. That's definitely put them in the chat now. The instructional coaches can answer you in the chat. At this moment, when you see these slides for Q&A, that's when you can unmute your microphone to ask a question. All right, we'll start with letter A, logging into Wonders. So to log into Wonders, step 1, you're going to go to the mcsforkids.com website, to that staff applications page. And step 2, you're going to see our applications are listed in alphabetical order. So under the letter C, you're going to click on that Connect Ed logo, just like you see here in step 2. Step 3, you're going to click on your textbook, and then you're in Wonders. Any questions right now just logging into Wonders on that process? All right, so once you're in Wonders, the next thing you're going to do is clean up your class roster. So one amazing thing that Wonders does for you is it automatically enrolls your students, new students, current students in Wonders for you. So that part, Wonders takes care of that for a teacher. The thing that Wonders doesn't do is it doesn't remove students that have moved out of your class. So they might have moved to another classroom or another school site. So it doesn't take them out of your Wonders class. So that part, that cleanup, you'll have to do as a teacher. And it's a good idea that we do this first before we start assigning things to our students. So how you're going to clean up your class roster is in this image. You can see step 1, the pink label there, step 1. At the top of Wonders, you're going to click Manage and Assign. Then step 2, you'll click Class Details. Then what you're going to see is your class roster. Each row is a separate student. So you would find the row of a student who's no longer in your class. And over on the right-hand side, so on that same row, all the way to the right-hand side, you'll see step 3 here. You'll click Remove. When you click Remove, you're going to get this pop-up screen that says, are you sure you want to remove this student from your class? It's going to show that student's name. Just review that. Make sure it is a student you want to delete from your class. And then step 4, click OK, and that student's removed from your class. Now, a best practice once we get back to traditional school, and you might have seen the email, it was just sent out this morning, just kind of before this webinar, or if you might not have seen that yet, but we did get an email that school will be extended to distance learning all the way till May 29th, to the end of school now. So it looks like we won't be returning to our classrooms this academic school year. Um, we'll still be in distance learning up to May 29th. But when we do eventually get back to that regular school classroom, oops, it looks like someone took over my computer. Let me take that back. When we do get back to that regular school classroom, there is a best practice when to clean up your roster, and it's highlighted here in yellow. So the best practice to delete students who are no longer on your class roster in Wonders is right before you assign the unit assessments to your class. And again, that's the best practice when we're actually in the classroom, but we're all going to clean up our class rosters now for this distance learning before you start assigning things to your students. All right, any questions on just doing the cleanup of your class rosters in Wonders? All right. So the next thing after you cleaned up your class roster, in Wonders, you're going to start to assign activities to the students. So what you're going to do is in step 1, underneath that Wonders logo, it's going to be in the top left corner. You're going to see the Wonders logo. Underneath that, it will say the unit and week that you're on in Wonders. So in step 1, you just click on unit. And in step 2, you're going to be able to choose the unit and the week that you would like to be on to find the resources. Step 3, then you click the gear next to any resource in Wonders that you want to assign. So any of these resources that you're going to assign to the students, you'll use the gear icon that you see in step 3 here. When you click on it, it's going to show this menu. So the gear is going to show where it says assign the resource in step 4. So when you click the gear, you'll click assign this resource in step 4 to assign it to your students. I do want to share on this same menu when you click the gear, the very first option says open interactive version. That's the closest you can get to see the student side of this. So when you click open interactive version, you get to see the actual activity the student will see on their side. So you might be curious, what does this look like for the student? You would just click open interactive version. But when you click the gear to assign it to students, click assign this resource that you see in step 4. And then you're in this area right here, and this is pretty busy. So we're going to go through here step by step. And remember, my expectations right now, we're just in this webinar. We're just kind of looking at this together, asking questions about it. My expectations are not in the actual platform doing this. Again, we're going to share out the PowerPoint and the videos and how to do all of it as well in a follow-up email. All right, so right here in this area, step 5, you're going to put the assignment name. Step 6, you have 2 different things that you can turn on here in step 6. The first thing is requires teacher's review. If you say yes, that means that you will look at the students' submitted assignments, you can give feedback, and you can check a box that it's completed. The nice thing about having that on is students on their side will get a green check mark and they can read your feedback. So that's going to be a really good thing to have on with distance learning. Step 6 also has a second thing you could turn on. It's the student audio recorder. So you can turn that on. What that does when the student gets the assignment, they are going to have the ability, if that's on, to record their voice, their student voice with that assignment. And that could be in your directions for them to practice fluency. That could be for them to explain in their own student voice their reasoning or their answers or explanation of what they were doing. So you can really utilize that with distance learning here. Step 7, you have this area to put in your assignment directions of what you want students to do. Step 8, you have a start date and due date. The start date is going to be the Monday of that week. the due date will be the Friday. So you're giving students a weekly activities. So each of these items will have a Monday start date and a Friday end date of that week. Step 8 also has an expiration date. What that means, whatever that's set at, that means on the student side, when does it leave their to-do list of something they have to do? So expiration date, if you have it set for June 1st, that means it's going to stay on their to-do list until the end of school here, the academic school year. If this area is teacher discretion, that expiration date, if you wanted to set it maybe 2 weeks out so that to-do list isn't too busy on the student side, that would be okay as well. Step 9 is where you can click all, and this assignment is going to be assigned to all your students. Also, step 9 is the answer to differentiated instruction here. Step 9 will allow you to assign this to individual students or different groups of students as well. So step 9 can do all, individual, or groups of students. But let's say you're going to assign to all of them. You click all in step 9. And then step 10, when you click assign button, it does assign it to the student. So the student will get it when you click the assign button. And this is what it looks like on the student side. So here in the student view, where you see the pink label student 1, that's looking at what's called the student binder. When they log into Wonders, the student logs into Wonders, they have that student binder. This is going to be very similar when you do those assessments of what this looks like for the students. So students have that binder, a to-do list. This is going to show everything you assigned them right here. As you can see, the green check mark means a teacher has checked the box and that the student completed it. So students get that visual verification. And also, if there's a yellow comment bubble, as you see in that activity assignment on that to-do list in this view, that's the feedback from the teacher. So students will see their to-do list. They can click on those activities in the binder and the to-do list. Then student 2 label with the arrow, that's pointing to where the student would actually have to click that image of the assignment to work on it. So they'll click on that image. And then once they click it, they're going to get this view. They're going to be able to work on it right within Wonders. So they never leave Wonders. So it just opens up. It's all interactive. In this case, it's a worksheet. And so students will get where you see student 3, they'll get a digital toolbar to interact with this worksheet. On that toolbar, the letter T is to type. The pencil is for them to draw or write digitally on it. They also have a highlighter here. And then student 4 label, that arrow is pointing to a save button. The student will save their work that they did. And then they get to come back to here, and student 5 step here, the student where the arrow is pointing would click the submit button. Once they click submit, then the teacher can review it. Where the teacher reviews it is back in Wonders for the teacher. So at the very top for a teacher, step 11, the teacher would click manage and assign. And then step 12, they'll click the assignment manager. And this is a video that shows what that assignment manager will look like for you as a teacher. I'm going to have you click the play button right now. This video will play on your side on your own computer, and we'll come back about 3 minutes to talk about the video. But go ahead and click play, and then we'll resume. All right, you had a chance to watch that video. I'm going to have you watch this video as well, and then we'll talk about this one next. This is the shuffle and dance you'll have to do as a teacher just because of distance learning. Wonders has you on a calendar, and it has it planned out where you are supposed to be in April on their calendar within this platform. So you're assigning things from different units that you're going to see in a moment from a list that coaches have put together what to assign each week. Well, you're assigning from different units, but Wonders thinks you're in a certain unit on the calendar. So there's a little shuffle and dance that you do to actually find where the assignments are that you have given the students and where they're submitting it to you. So go ahead and watch this video and then we'll return back here. All right, we'll return back here. It looks like someone took control of my computer. I'll take that back. All right. Um, so another item that you have here in step 15, I'll let you view that at a later time when you get our follow-up email with all the resources in this PowerPoint and the videos. So you also have what's called a data dashboard. It's like a student activity report. So this area is going to be really nice that you can also see activity within Wonders, even if students are submitting things to you. So you'll be able to see accountability if students are in Wonders, if they're actually working on activities with the data dashboard. All right, I'm gonna open for any questions that you have. So feel free to unmute your mic to ask or put it in the chat.
Hi, Matthew. This is Corey Gruba.
Yes, hi.
Hi. I noticed on the list where it had all the student names that it had what level they were at, beyond or at or approaching grade level. Are the
Yeah.
assignments that are posted modified then accordingly? I'm thinking as a resource specialist of, kids that I have that aren't going to be able to read the grade level text that's assigned.
Yeah, so I'll kind of answer a little bit and then I'll have the instructional coaches jump in here. So you're going to have these detailed activity sheets of what to assign each week in Wonders. And then instructional coaches, do you want to kind of comment on the question she's asking about that?
Matthew?
Yes, hi.
Okay, so in order to assign, you would have to assign the different assignments for those students. What we have on the distance learning resource log is just really for your on-level students, and there are some supplemental resources for ELs that we have listed in the distance learning resource log in the supplemental resources for that support, but you would have to adjust for your varying groups. So you could use your approaching level resources or your beyond for those different groups that you have in your class. So you could push out those assignments that are within that week for that extra support.
Is there a way to do like a text to speech where I could read the passage, record it, and post it? Because I know on the tests anyway that they don't have that option.
So for all the reading that we've assigned, it's the shared reading and the paired reading. When you assign that resource to the students, they have the option to listen to the audio of it.
Okay, so that goes for like the regular stories, the long stories that are in the text?
We didn't recommend pushing out the long stories that are usually your day 3 in the curriculum, and that's in the literature anthology. We thought it was pretty hefty for them to tackle that on their own. So what we did recommend is just assigning that first read, that's your shared read in the reading writing workshop book. And then the close reading, that it's usually the paired selection. That's the story right after the big story in the literature anthology. Those are smaller texts, and we figured that they would be able to access the information better and apply those skills, those comprehension skills that they're working on with the shorter text. And with both of those, they are able to listen to the stories.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a great question on where do you find answer keys to correct the work. So I'm going to throw that out to our group here. If anyone's, I've never actually had students in a Wonders class to correct their work. If anyone knows about that, I can definitely follow up if no one does to find out that answer for you. But if anyone here has corrected work in Wonders, how do you get to the answer key?
Because, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Because they're going to be working out of the Your Turn practice book. So those are the pages that we recommended on our resource log. So then as a teacher, when you go into your resource and wonders, when you type in your turn, it'll give you the regular blank your turn practice book and then the answer key. So there's two versions. So you would have to go find the one that has the key with all the answers to those pages.
Oh, fantastic. And in a moment, you're going to see kind of what we're mentioning, these distance learning activity sheets of what's laid out for you to assign in Wonders. And I think they're going to be strongly encouraged. I think there was a question, do we have to follow that? It's going to be strongly encouraged to follow it. You could have your own, independent communication with your own students and parents, but just know the parents and students are going to get a message of a similar process of what we're lining up in that distance learning activity sheet of what they're expecting their students to do. But you definitely can have that independent communication with students or parents if you're assigning additional to that. Would that be correct with the instructional coaches?
Yes, they would just need to put that in the instructions so the students know what they're being asked to do.
Perfect. All right, we'll continue on. So that's one part of what you're going to do is Wonders. So you're going to be assigning through Wonders. Students are going to log into Wonders to complete the activities. You as teachers can review their submitted activities in Wonders, give feedback, mark it as completed. So you have that piece. The next piece that we're going to look at is just for you as teachers. We're going to have you as teachers come into Schoology to get to these distance learning activity sheets we've been talking about. So how you log into Schoology is step one, you're going to go to mcsforkids.com, the staff applications page. And then step two, you're going to click Schoology. So they're all listed alphabetical order. So you'll find under S's Schoology. So in step two, you click on Schoology. And then step three, you're going to click K8. You'll need to click K8 to log into the Schoology for your school. And then you're going to see this login screen to log into it. So step four, you're just going to use your district username. That's just the first part of your email address. You won't use your full email address here. So this is one of the few places you log in that you don't use that full email address. You just want to use that district username there. Step five, that's where you're going to put your district computer password. So they call that single sign-on. You just put in your username and your computer password. And then step six, you'll log in. And then you're in I'm sorry, you're in Schoology. Your Schoology is a little bit more festive than my picture here. Your Schoology, when you log in, is the top part is your school colors and your school logo. So it is more festive when you log in. Any questions on just logging into Schoology? All right. So once you logged into Schoology, K-8 teachers do need to join this distance learning Schoology group. And I'm going to show you how to join it right here. So you do need to do that to get to the stuff that we're going to show you in a moment. So to join this Schoology group, you as teachers click groups at the top, step one. And then step two on the right-hand side, you'll click my groups. And then on the right-hand side, step three, you'll click Join Group. When you click that Join Group button, it's going to want an access code. That is the real access code that you're going to use. We're also going to send that to you in a follow-up email to this webinar, but it's going to be in the PowerPoint as well here. But that is the actual access code you'll use to join this group. And then step four, you'll click Join. Once you joined it, then you only have to join it one time. You can always find this when you log into Schoology now. You just go to groups where you see step 5. And then one of your groups is going to be distance learning resources with the district logo that you see there in step 6. When you click on that, Oh, I'm sorry. There is a video. You can watch that at a later time. That video will go over everything I just showed you, how to log into Schoology, how to access that distance learning resource group. All right, any question that answers how to join that group? Yeah, I think there was a wanting to give the code. Here's the code again. And you're definitely going to get that code. We'll put that in an email as well. Actually, I will put it in the chat right now, too.
Hey, Matthew, I have a quick
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Let's see, when I joined the Schoology 101 and 102, it actually put that on courses. But for the student view, will they see those on my courses?
No, so I think what you're mentioning is you're taking these self-paced training modules.
Exactly.
Yeah, so those are just for you as a teacher. When you join them, you only see them. The students
good.
never see that.
So we don't have to delete that afterward.
No, you do not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. So what was just mentioned is, as you know, on the district's main site is a staff area for all your resources for distance learning. And there is listed several, I think like 5 different self-paced Schoology courses that you can take to learn more about how to use Schoology. All right, so you got to the Schoology group and the distance learning resource group. You clicked on it. This is what you're going to see next here. So once you're in the group, step 1, you'll click on resources on the left-hand side. In step 2, you're going to see a folder list here by grade level. So there'll be like TK2, 3.6, 7.12. So you're going to click on the 3.6 folder that you see in step 2. And then you're going to click on ELA folder, step 3. And inside that is a couple more folders. So inside there is step 4. You're going to see it broken out by individual grade levels. So for example, let's say I click on the 5th grade. Inside those grade level folders, you see step 5, where you're going to have weekly activity folders. These folders are for you as teachers of ideas and directions for what you're going to be assigning in your Wonders platform. And when you click on those activity folders for the week, you'll see a document like in step 6. There'll be a document waiting there called Distance Learning. You click on it and you'll be able to view it. Now, just to share with you, Schoology opens these documents in this very narrow view, as you see here in this image. So my tip for you is step 7, where the arrow is. You're probably going to want to click that download button. When you download it, you can open it up in Microsoft Word to see it bigger. Also, I have circled here as those 4-headed arrows. You may click the 4-headed arrows and it will go full screen on your computer. And when you do that, you're going to be able to see that whole distance learning resource for that week. And again, this is really detailed, laid out nicely for what you do that week in Wonders, what you set the start and end date, what are the assignments to share out to students from Wonders, how do you find them, and even the assignment instructions you can put in. So that's all laid out for you each week. Any questions on getting to those Schoology resources in the group? All right, with that, this is a good place for me to hand it off to your amazing 3.6 ELA instructional coaches, Elsa and Quinn, and they're going to show you what they put together in the Schoology group for you. Thank you.
Elsa, are you able to see it?
Yes, I see your screen.
Thank you.
Oh, Quinn, we just see your Schoology course. We don't see a PowerPoint though.
Oh, you don't? Okay, let me, that's weird. Let me try it again.
I see it.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks good.
Sorry, my computer's having trouble here. Thank you. Okay, are we able to see the distance learning resource?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're just going to go through this resource that is on Schoology, and it's for grades 3 through 6th grade. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to get onto Connect Ed. Log on to the MCS for Kids website and click on the staff applications. Under the staff applications, you will find the Connect Ed icon in order to access the Wonders curriculum. I know Matthew went over this with us earlier. Are there any questions on how to log on to Connect Ed? Okay. Once you have logged onto the Connect Ed platform, you will select the unit and the week that you want. You will click on the Wonders icon in the upper left-hand corner. Now you will see all of the weekly lesson resources. On the left-hand side, you have the weekly lessons. In the middle, you will see this week's games. And then on the right-hand side, you have the weekly printables. When you would like to assign a resource, you will click on the gear in order to assign that resource. Do we have any questions about looking at a weekly lesson? Okay. So now we're going to be looking at a distance learning resource log and getting information from that resource and then showing you how it applies to the Connect Ed. Use the distance learning resource log in order to determine the assignments that need to be assigned for the week. For example, if I wanted to assign the weekly printables A Reproducible Unit 5 Week 1, I would locate the section titled Weekly Printables. I would find A Reproducibles Unit 5 Week 1 and click on the gear. A drop-down menu will appear and you will click Assign this resource. Do we have any questions about using the distance learning resource log and Connect Ed?
Hello, my name is Tina. I'm confused about what unit, based on the video that Matthew showed us. If I want to do Unit 4 Week 1 instead of Unit 5 Week 1, can I still do that?
You want to, what grade are you?
I'm 4th grade and we were suggested to flip to Unit 5 in order to focus on narrative writing and then go back and do.
That is accurate. If you're a 4th grade teacher, you probably have already taught Unit 5
Yeah.
And there is a resource in Schoology for the 4th grade teachers that has all of the same information for Unit 4. So
Oh,
you
good.
do have Unit 4, 5, and 6 on Schoology for if you're a 4th grade teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Great question. Anything else? Okay. Once you have assigned this resource, you will see an Assignment Manager section. Under Assignment Details, you will enter in the assignment name. You will select whether it requires teacher review. If you selected yes, you will have to enter in when the assignment was complete. If you select no, the assignment will automatically be marked as complete once the student has submitted it. Under the assignment instructions, you will enter in the instructions from the Distance Learning Resource Log and any other additional information that you want students to have. You will select a start date and due date and expiration date for the assignment. Once the expiration date is entered, the student will no longer be able to see that assignment on his or her homepage. The teacher will determine when the assignment expires. You will select all the students that you want and you will click Assign. So just to point out a couple features on this platform that Matthew talked about earlier, if you do select Requires Teacher Review, that is where you'll be able to mark the assignment complete, and that is where you will be able to offer feedback and comments to your students. So you want to mark yes if you want to be able to give feedback to your students under that section. Also, there's the section titled Student Audio Recorder, and if you click that on, you can have students practice their fluency and it will be automatically sent to you through that platform. Is there any other questions about this section? Okay. Use the Distance Learning Resource Log to determine the assignment. For example, if I wanted to assign the shared read Miguel in the middle, I would go to my weekly lessons resource page on Connect Ed, find weekly lessons, select one, select whole group reading, select shared read. The icon will appear. Select the gear setting and click Assign this resource. Make sure to pay attention to the assignment instructions so that you can enter them in the Assignment Manager section under the assignment instructions. Do we have any questions about how to use the Distance Learning Resource Log and how to assign it through Connect Ed? Okay, just one thing to point out on this resource, the assignment instructions, we have listed them here. You can copy and paste these if you download the resource from Schoology, like Matthew showed you how to do. And so you can just copy and paste those instructions right in the Assignment Manager section. And you can also add any other information that you want for your students.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Is there a Spanish translation for the instructions? So Spanish-speaking parents would at least be able to, you know, explain to their child what they're supposed to do?
Yes, I believe next week they are providing tutorials for parents and students. And correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, but I believe they are providing the Spanish translations for parents.
Yeah, so kind of how it's being pieced out is last week, spring break week, all of us instructional coaches have been creating the resources for teachers for this week, for the webinars and the self-paced trainings and the videos. And this week, as we're kind of doing these trainings with teachers, we're also working on the student parent side this week with rolling that out next week. But yes, the materials will be both in English and Spanish. And I'm told there will be a phone number for a service the district will have that can help with parents that don't speak those two languages, might speak a different language to help out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? After you have assigned the shared read, you would type in the assignment name, shared read, Miguel in the middle. You would determine whether you wanted a teacher review. You would type in the assignment instructions from the distance learning resource log and any additional information that you want students to know. Select the start, due date, and expiration date. Select all the students and assign. Do we have any questions about this section?
Hello, this is Claudia Courtney, and I was wanting to know, how would we assign something to just maybe some students in the class? Could you review that?
Sure, that's a great question. So under the section here where it says select students, you will have your class roster listed there, and you can click on all of the students if you want every student to have that assignment, or you can just click a few students to receive that assignment, or maybe you wanted to assign it to everybody but a group of 5. You could select all and then unclick those 5 students you didn't want to have that assignment, and then you could create another assignment for those group of 5 that you wanted them to have an alternate assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Quinn, it's Melissa Perry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, you guys are doing a great job. Hey, I've been using the to-do list for 3 years now because I learned it at a previous school district. But ever since I've been using it, there's little mini writing lessons. So, for example, in 6th grade, Unit 5, there's one that's called Text Structure, Cause and Effect. And they're really great little videos, and they're interactive so the kids can go in, and they're just really great. But every time I assign them over the past 3 years, my students cannot access them on their to-do list. I don't know if someone could ask our Wonders rep about that and get back to us, but it's really a good feature, but my kids can never use it.
Okay, so you said it's under the writing?
If you go into, for example, 6th grade, Unit 5, Week 3, and any of the games too, if it's a game, it gives me the little cog to share it and assign it, but they never work.
Okay, we will follow up on
grammar activity works, phonics fluency works, build vocabulary works, spelling activity, word sorts, those always work. The EL, there's a little Wonders Adaptive Learning for EL, that won't work. And if you're looking at a Unit 5 Text Structure, Cause and Effect, any of those that I've ever assigned never work.
Okay. We will follow up on that with Connect Ed to make sure that we're assigning it the correct way and that it will work for students.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
It does sound, though, can we go over a list to make sure what we've recommended does work since we have her on?
Yes.
So the things that we've recommended are the paired read, the shared read, and then we did vocabulary, the comprehension skill. What was the other one, Quinn?
So we did the vocabulary, the spelling, the comprehension skill, and then all of the reproducible A for that week. But I believe what she was referring to was that comprehension skill So we should check on that, the game section for that comprehension skill, to make sure that does work.
Comprehension skill one. The others appears that they work.
Is that correct, Melissa?
Yeah, their comprehension. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
So we'll follow up with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions or concerns? Perfect.
When did we lose the audio?
I'm sorry.
Did you already hit play? Because I didn't hear anything.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Let me try again. Let me know if you hear it.
No.
No. Okay, so I'll just walk you through this. So how you would use this resource, it's another example from the distance learning resource log. We are recommending that you do assign the close reading. That's that paired selection after the literature story that week in the anthology. You go to day 4, whole group reading, and then you would select the close reading. Again, that icon will appear for the story that you would like to assign. You'll click on the gear and assign the resource to your students. You'll want to make sure that you pay attention to the assignment instructions. It tells the students what pages they need to read, and then the questions that they need to answer and the writing support that they need to do. Are there any questions about this? Okay. So that is the end. Do we have any questions about what we're recommending to assign to students, and then how to assign those resources on Connect Ed?
This is Gail Cormier. Hi. Do we have access just to look at what's being assigned? Someone had mentioned that we didn't have, coaches didn't have that. Not you guys, but the MTSS coaches.
Oh, you can't have access to these Schoology?
Oh, I'm not sure. Someone told me, no, I was saying to look at the resources that you guys have assigned.
On Connect Ed? You might not if you don't have a class roster, but we can email me separately and we can try to figure out a way to work around that.
Okay.
For you.
Thank you.
There was a question about the district learning log. Yes, it can be found in Schoology in the distance learning group. That's where you're going to go find these logs. So you have to go, as a teacher, you will go to Schoology to obtain these logs so that you know what to assign in Connect Ed. Students will only be using Connect Ed to do these assignments.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. So this is kind of like your lesson plan. You as a teacher will pull it up. You'll review what your students will be doing for the week, and you will probably have to be more specific on your assignment instructions if you want to do them daily and break it down for students what you want them to assign. For example, if you are assigning the reproducibles, you can't select specific page numbers. You have to assign the entire resource. So if I were communicating with my students, I would be very specific on what page numbers I would want them to complete For instance, on Monday, I would like you to do page 59 and 60, Tuesday, 63. So you can be specific in your instructions when you do assign those resources for your students. The way Connect Ed has it is you have to assign the entire resource. So I would just be very detailed when I give instructions to my students about what they should do each day. You know, on Monday, if you wanted to start with the vocabulary before they did the shared reading, you would want to make sure that you did note that in your instructions.
Just to add to that, there was a questions about the fluency sheets. In the instructions is where you would put, using the reproducible page where you have the fluency passage, please record yourself reading. Make sure you've turned on the student record and you've said yes on that when you do those, if you're going to have students read that to you.
Yes.
Hi, I had a question. As a resource teacher, is there a way that I can see what each of my students has been assigned by their grade level teacher? Or just like if I go on and post my own assignments?
I'm not sure if you're able to see what they've been assigned from other teachers. Matthew, do you know about that?
No, not that I know the ability of that. Each individual teacher has their own class in Wonders and they're assigned from Power School a report. So but I don't know if you're listed as a co-teacher to the class, you might get it. But outside of that, there's not a way within Wonders for that.
Okay, thank you.
This is Debbie. Would there be a way for there to be a teacher-to-teacher communication where the teacher they know who the resource teacher is, that they can send a message saying this is what I assigned?
Yes, that would be the best way to handle that. So knowing, as a classroom teacher, knowing your resource students and making sure you are communicating with the resource teacher what assignments have been assigned.
And the nice thing is you do have these documents that do list that for each week.
Yes. One other feature that we didn't go over in this presentation is the ability to assign that vocabulary presentation for students. So if you wanted students to have some more vocabulary support, you can assign the vocabulary presentation in Wonders so that they are at least able to hear the word pronounced. They're able to have the definition read out loud to them and see some examples with visuals. So if you need help finding that resource, I'd be happy to show you how to do that. But we do recommend assigning that resource to your students as well, so they can preview that before they start the shared read and before they attempt to do the vocabulary worksheet. Does anybody need to see how that is done? Okay. Are there any other questions then?
This is Claudia again. I just wanted to double check if we were to assign something to our EL students and perhaps we wanted to use the other practice workbook, we could also make that assignment.
Yes, you could.
Okay, thank you.
There was a question about grading. Did you want to speak on that?
Yes. So starting the week of April 13th, it will be all new material that is being delivered to the students. And our goal is to continue introducing those new concepts for the rest of the year, since we are moving towards this distance learning. We don't want our students to fall behind, so we are encouraging the teachers to review all of those assignments and give that corrective feedback Also, as Matthew pointed out, making sure that you're checking on their activity and making sure they are doing those assignments. But at this point, I believe we are not assigning any grades to any of these assignments because we aren't sure how, the students are accessing this information and what supports they have at home, knowing that we are limited on our instruction that we are able to give them through this platform. Are there any questions about that? Okay.
And we do want to honor all of your time. You're more than welcome to stay here, ask questions. This is the end of the webinar, and we really thank you all for joining us. Remember that Quinn, Elsa, myself, Matthew, we're all here to help support. Email us. If you started using Teams, you can contact us in Teams, but email is okay as well. And we're just all here trying to help guide and support. And this is all new for everybody. And we just know that parents, students, teachers, coaches, administrators, we're all better together, help and support each other as we continue on. And I know you're doing the best to give good instruction and teaching to your own students during the distance learning, and we want to help support that. You're definitely getting a follow-up email, a copy of all the resources, videos, and PowerPoint. And then we'll stay on here if you want to continue to stay to ask questions. But I did want to honor everyone's time as well. Make sure you did your attendance to get counted for attending the webinar. But thank you, everybody.
Matthew, how do I do the attendance again?
Yeah, so do you have your meeting chat open to see the chat going on for this webinar?
I do.
Okay, I just posted the link out. It's a bit.ly, it's like bit.ly MCS webinar. You click on that link and you'll fill out an online form.
It might be covered up, so there's a little text that says see more. Click on it so it opens it up so you can see the link.
Where's the see more?
It's right underneath Matthew's post on the chat. Do you see Matthew on there right now?
I don't. I have. Oh, there he is. Okay, reply.
Yeah. So
okay. Oh, I went to something else. Ah. Go back. Okay, Matthew. Yeah. Will it come through again?
Do you see it posted at 1:10 under Matthew's name?
Yeah, and then I click that.
Yeah, if you click on that link, it'll take you to